Hey everyone, Andre here, along with Tris and Chris, to discuss Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania, because we've been playing a fair amount of it over the past week or so. Tris a little bit more than the rest of us. With Tris playing on Nintendo Switch, I've been playing a little bit on PS5, and we've been dabbling in all kinds of modes. So I thought we'd get together and discuss everything we know about this game and their early impressions of it at this point. Now, Chris, I believe, will be chiming in a little bit later, because we focus primarily on the multiplayer portion. But for now, Tris, can you dial us in on what exactly this game is all about for those who may not know?
Yeah, so Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania is more or less a remake of Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. It has a recreation of all 300 stages from that game, and it has a comic book style, I guess, retelling of the story from that game, which is, instead of whole special animated cutscenes, now dialed back to like 30-second shorts. It's odd, interesting, and as someone who didn't get to experience it before, I don't feel like I'm missing much. But when comparing this game, I realized, oh wow, that is a big difference here.
Yeah, I'm guessing they just don't want to remake the full CG cutscenes, and
yeah,
which is disappointing because looking at them originally, it's like, oh, those were actually pretty impressive. But you know, whatever.
Yeah. I was actually kind of shocked to go and see that. Like I mentioned, I myself have never got to experience Monkey Ball before all this, but this seems like it's most of the content from Super Monkey Ball Deluxe. That includes all 12 multiplayer games, which we'll talk about a little bit more later. But it's really just a celebration game, is what this really comes down to. I mean, it's Monkey Ball's 20th anniversary this year, and this game is really,
or 2 days ago at this point, exactly.
2 days ago, yeah, there you go. So this is really appealing to the fans of the series more than anything else, with all of its content, and Sega fans too, with all the Sega content. And
yeah, because there's like different characters in this one, right? Like Sonic and Beat, I think.
We got classic Sonic, classic Tails. We got Yakuza representation, and we've got Beat from Jet Set Radio.
That's pretty great. So yeah, I guess as your first Monkey Ball, how have you been enjoying it so far? Like, does it feel like a modern game, or are you like, oh, this is clearly from 20 years ago or whatever?
You know, that's an interesting approach to the question, because I was about to say, like, oh yeah, it's actually pretty fun so far, but to think about it, how does it feel modern-wise? I mean, it definitely feels updated. I don't feel like I'm playing something, like, glitchy from an old polygonal game with low poly or whatnot. Like, I don't feel like I'm playing something super old that it just isn't aging well. It feels like it aged pretty well, and it's been pretty fun. It's been difficult, I will say that much. Puzzle games are very interesting for me because I get stubborn with them, and I don't want to accept the extra help that they offer when you fail, like, twice. So I end up slightly frustrating myself as I try to complete levels, and as they get more and more difficult, it has been an interesting experience.
I never really thought Monkey Ball was a puzzle game, but it kind of is in some sense, because you kind of have to figure out how to get through these environments, and it's not just based on skill or reaction time. It's partially figuring out how are you going to use your momentum, for instance, at points to get around there. So that's pretty interesting. So you're having a good time with it so far, then, or? Yeah,
it's honestly been pretty entertaining, and right off the bat, the game is like a really good first impression because the opening theme is such a bop,
it's
and
great.
I don't know
it
why
really
it's
goes
so
hard.
good. I don't know why that title theme is so good.
I almost didn't want to start the actual game proper because I was having so much fun on the title screen or whatever. It was great.
It is a really good song, and I let it sit there for a minute. And I was like, okay, this is a really good first impression. Though and obviously I jumped right into the story mode at first, and though the cutscenes are definitely dialed back compared to the original telling of this story, I kind of like how this just lets you get right to it and get right to the gameplay. So I got very quickly to realize, very quickly just how ready to struggle I was. Even in World 1, like at first I was like, okay, my first thought was I had to get all the bananas in the level before clearing it. So then I started trying to do that. But then I realized, oh, I legitimately can't figure out how to get this one on like the 3rd level. Well, I guess this is going to be one of those you really have to play through multiple times. Okay. So it's been really interesting, like, figuring things out as I go that I guess fans of the series have long since known, but I have not.
Yeah, I mean, even as one who I play the original Monkey Ball, and it's not like I have all of them in my memory still. Like going back and replaying them, like, oh, I don't remember any of this. I remember the basic idea, but I will say though, I actually just revisited Super Monkey Ball not too long ago when I was visiting Tom, and we just ran the video 2 days ago at this point for the 20th anniversary, and I thought the game like held up surprisingly well on GameCube, but then I see it now on PS5. I'm like, dang, that looks sharp. That looks clean. It's got like great visual style, like the flat waterfalls in the previous games are like, you know, are full of depth here. Like you can see like water shooting off of them, like actual like, you know, fragments or water droplets, I guess. And it just got a really clean look to it. And it seems to be running at a mostly solid, like a pretty solid 60 frames per second on PS5, but I have noticed very occasional slowdown. So I was curious how that has been on Nintendo Switch for you. Like, does it look as, like, is this matching up with what you played on the system? And does it run at a smooth frame rate, or have you noticed some occasional slowdown as well?
Ironically enough, I noticed a very consistent slowdown, but only on the loading screens. And you can only tell because like all like the icons in the background behind II's head just start stuttering as they're trying to spin. But it is exclusively on the loading screens, because otherwise the gameplay itself is like super smooth. And I haven't seen like any technical issues there at all.
Great. And does it look good too on Switch?
Yeah, honestly, it looks really nice.
Yeah, it's always been a good looking game. It's nice to see it presented in this in HD now with, you know, the classic horses and all that. So one of my first takeaways, Tris, from when I turned on the game recently was, I'm like, dang, there is a lot to do here.
Oh yeah.
Even within story mode, you have the story mode itself. Then you have like challenges based on, I believe, the levels from the original first 2 Monkey Balls.
I think first 3. You have I think it's challenges from the first 3. Or maybe it's just 2 and then 2 practice modes. But either way, there's a lot of challenges, and then there's special modes on top of that.
Right. Yeah, so there's a lot going on here. So can you tell us a little bit more about the other options available to you?
Yeah, so the different modes, so outside of the story mode, well, technically they all kind of play the same. It's a whole like reach the end goal kind of level. The story mode just has you play through levels in a set order, where that you can also go back and try in any order. But for challenge mode, you don't get a break in between them. It puts you through, whatever difficulty you pick, it puts you through a set number of levels, and you run all the way through with increasing difficulty as they go. At the time of recording this, I specifically did the Super Monkey Ball 1 casual challenge, I think it was, and I was actually kind of surprised at, I think I only missed 2 bananas in the entire run, and I was a little disappointed by that, because I thought I got all of them. But I'm really liking the different challenge those present compared to the way the story mode challenges you. These feel more thought-provoking, whereas there's definitely a few levels in the story mode that alternatively feel almost like you kind of have to wait for the right time rather than just thought-provoking.
Yeah, that's for sure. Monkey Ball's kind of all over the place, which I think is what makes it what it is. Yeah, so are there any other, outside the multiplayer, which we'll get to soon, is there anything else that you've been playing with single-player-wise, or...?
I've been loving trying out the photo mode.
Yeah?
I kind of wish there was a way to just, like, press, like, a specific button and immediately activate the photo mode, but pausing the game and then accessing the photo mode feels a little odd. But there's a lot of different, like, little filters and a lot of, like, fun you can have with it, which... It's a small thing nowadays where so many games have photo modes. It's considered an expectation, not Nintendo games, but it's considered an expectation that I'm really happy is here. It's the little things that count, I guess. But I'm always ready to say more games need photo modes, and I'm happy this one has it.
I did take a look at the options briefly and played around with those a little bit, and it seems like they have a lot more options than I recall being in the GameCube versions, such as things like there's an option for it to even show your input, so you can see exactly how what you're pressing on the control stick is registering in the game world. I'm like, oh, that seems useful. Yeah. And then I also saw that there's an option too if you get stuck on a level, which I don't know, you might need this, Tris, based on what you're telling me story mode, where it'll make it seems like it'll make it a little bit easier. I believe it doubles the time you have available for the stage, and it shows you an ideal path, it seems, through it as well. And I don't know if that was in the original version of Deluxe. I don't think I played that one much, but I don't remember that being in the first 2, and that seems like a useful addition.
That does seem useful, especially for the level in, I believe it's in World 4, where it's like seesaws. And that level stunned me for a good like half hour at least. So maybe a right path definitely would be good there, because the bananas are laid out in like a good path, but if you don't go through it fast enough, your seesaws are already teetering to the wrong side.
Real quick, how have you been finding the story? Like, is it engaging, even told through the simple cutscenes, or is it more like whatever? It's just there.
Honestly, yeah, it's just there, and maybe that's because it tells more like a recap of that original game's story, because it's such a small little like nothing, like comic animated thing. Like it's presented like the monkeys are watching a TV show, like the SMB show, and then each world is like a new number iteration. I imagine in the original game that was actually each like chapter of the game and the cutscenes that would play out through it. It seems to do a decent summation of it. I yelling for Doc Boone, or Bad Boone, sorry. And there's little things there, but there's never any actual dialogue, and there's never like a proper way to convey what's actually happening in the story beyond this little like summation.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what I would expect from a Monkey Ball story anyway.
It's not something I'm playing for the story. It's not something I'm playing for the story.
Exactly. It started off as an arcade game. It's a purely arcade game. So, or an arcade-like game, I should say. So is there anything else about single-player mode, Triss, that stood out to you?
There are also the special modes. I haven't had a chance to dabble too much in these, but there's like deluxe mode, there's the like dark banana mode. That's probably the easiest one to explain, where you have to avoid bananas instead of collecting them.
That sounds horrible for monkeys.
There's other modes like that. You have to unlock all of them from the shop, and they cost a significant more amount of points than everything else. So if you want them, you really have to work for them. But they definitely seem like they're going to add to the longevity of it. I haven't had a chance to dabble too much in them, but I am interested in seeing dark banana mode, because I know it'll take me a few minutes to adjust to that, because I always try to get as many as I can.
Is that fun? Like, have you enjoyed that?
I haven't played Dark Mana specifically, but I haven't unlocked that one yet. But from what I have experienced of the special modes, they do put a completely different spin on everything from what to expect from like challenge mode, for example. So it definitely keeps things fresh and interesting.
Banana freshly
freshly peeled bananas.
There we go. All right, so we've talked a lot about single player, but one of the other big components of a Monkey Ball game, at least in my experience, is the multiplayer, usually filled with an assortment of like fun little mini games, many of which are based on actual sports. And this game has a ton of them, it seems. So Triss, can you give us an overview of what's going on here multiplayer-wise?
Yeah, so there's 12 different multiplayer games, and they are wild, to put it lightly. There's a lot of different options too. Like there's you know, a race, which is pretty self-explanatory. You race against other players or computer players, and Mario Kart style, throw items at each other and try to reach the end first, which in Monkey Ball could be pretty hectic as you're flying off the map. But then there's other interesting ones, like Monkey Target, which Chris and I could not get to work properly for us.
It's tough.
I think once we made it to the target, and it's because the game pitied us and put the target like right near the start. There's also the billiards one, which took it was a bit of a slow one for us, because that's billiards. It's not a pool. It's not exactly a fast game, but that one was actually more fun than any of us were expecting, I think.
I know. Why is it? It's literally just pool, and I had so much fun.
I remember on GameCube, I would just always blast my ball at full power and just pray something good happened, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that happened quite a few times. We also, to preface that a little bit, Chris and I got to meet up in New York recently, and when we did, we played the multiplayer in Monkey Ball here. So we actually, this is how we got to try a bit. This is how Chris got to play the multiplayer with us a bit, to really figure out how things go. And as I'm sure I'll have at least one clip from in footage, there was the occasional trick shot made in billiards, whereas on the other side of things, there was absolute failures in Monkey Target.
Yeah, the multiplayer. Yeah, some of the modes can be difficult, but it's awesome to hear you guys having a great time with it, like I did with the original 20 years ago, which is wild. Yeah, and so yeah, did you have fun across every mode? Like even when you couldn't hit the target in Monkey Target, like were you still enjoying it, or What's your take on the mini games overall so far?
So I'm curious what Chris will think on this, but I think each minigame starts. It gives you the option to view the controls and then a lot of tutorial, like different like menus you can look through to kind of get an understanding of the game. Monkey Target is one that I feel like I wish it gave me at least the option to watch or play a actual tutorial round where it's walking you through each step of the way what to do, because there's like 12 pages of the menu to look at how to play it, and it is really hard to digest all that information right away. So I think Monkey Target I would need more time with to actually have fun with, but all the other ones were honestly pretty fun. Monkey Fight, I believe, was the other one that we did. I didn't mention that one, but in general, like, it's been actually pretty fun. It was good hectic party fun that I would come to expect from like now the WarioWare or Mario Party that I thoroughly enjoyed. But Chris, I'm curious on your thoughts on that.
Yeah, the multiplayer games were really fun. I haven't said much because that's pretty much all I got to do. Tris and Andre, you guys obviously have the full game and you've gotten to do the single player. But when I met up with Tris, we got to spend about an hour playing the multiplayer games. And I gotta say, what I'm looking forward to most in Banana Mania is the single player, is sort of the campaign, I guess you could call it, progressing through the worlds and everything. Because I've only played Super Monkey Ball 3D, and that's all I did. But I really loved it, and the challenge of it is great. So I didn't have any experience with these multiplayer minigames yet, but I gotta say I had a really good time with it. There were lots of laughs, lots of fun moments, a few like admittedly glitchy or just confusing moments too, especially in Monkey Target. But I think like once we figure that out, that one will be a lot of fun. I think with Super Monkey Ball, it's generally it's simple, but it's also bonkers. It's also crazy, but it's like pretty simple at its core in terms of the gameplay. But there's such a variety of mini games, and I like that it's not simple to the point where it's easy to win, particularly in Monkey Racing. But at the same time, like, it's not so off the walls madness to the point where you feel like winning is out of your control. Like, I think the modes really struck a pretty good balance where there's a lot going on, but you still feel like you're in control of your outcome. But there's still definitely moments where it just gets so wild that you just kind of laugh and have fun with it.
Would you say it gets bananas?
It gets pretty bananas.
I needed to say it before Andre did.
Yeah, good call. The mini games, my experience, including playing on the new one, like they're all, they're typically pretty arcadey, pretty overall simple, which makes them accessible. But they're not like Mario. They're not quite Mario Party mini game simple. Like there's enough depth here where you can have like some actual like legit fun over a long period of time. Like there's a golf game in here that's almost like Mario Golf. Like it's a little bit simpler, but surprisingly in depth. You have tennis. There's a dogfighting mode where you're flying around shooting down other monkeys. It's hilarious just how much they packed in here. There's even variants within some of those. Like golf has full golf and mini golf, and it's kind of nuts.
Yeah, I mean billiards. We only played I think it was 9 ball. Is that what it was? Where you get each ball in order from 1 to 9. But I mean, it was
Japan 9 ball. Yeah.
Japanese 9. Yeah, that's what it was. There was a lot. Like Tris said a minute ago, it was pretty overwhelming. All the instructions and different, there's such a variety to each of these individually, but it wasn't necessarily overwhelming. It was more just, I really want to dive deeper into them and try out everything.
Right. Now you mentioned real quick during Monkey Target, you had trouble figuring it out, but you also mentioned it might have been glitchy. Can you elaborate on that?
I think there were 2 or 3 moments where a few of us just got stuck kind of in the wall or like on the edge of an object while gliding and just kind of frozen until the next turn.
So did you have to restart the game, or did you have to...
Nope, we just had to wait until the next
round
launch, I guess.
Okay, the only thing I'm wondering is, as obviously the Monkey Ball expert here, is there is a sticky option, at least in the first game. I wonder is it possible that was enabled and you got stuck to the wall like as a power or whatever, or was it clearly a glitch?
Tris, what do you think? I'm pretty sure it was a glitch.
I'm pretty sure it was a glitch because for my very first my very first round of Monkey Target, I dropped my Joy-Con and it drifted me off to the left, so I had to recover, and I was under the stage and I got stuck. That is what happened in that one.
All right. If you have the gameplay of it, I guess I can take a look at that too. And
I glided to the underside of the ramp. It wasn't even to the target, but like you could see through it and everything. So, okay, so we weren't supposed to go there. but that's what I get for dropping my Joy-Con there.
So, any other thoughts so far about anything you played in Monkey Ball Banana Mania?
I'm really excited to experience the rest of the game and find what I want to be able to come out of this and have like a list of the levels that I find are most challenging to me, so that I can like come back later on and say like, yes, I cleared them. I managed to do it. This kind of game is piquing my interest like enough that I can tell I'm gonna want that satisfaction of clearing everything in it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot to clear here, it seems like.
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
And how about you, Chris? Any takeaways from your time with Monkey Ball that you haven't mentioned yet?
I mean, I did mention this, so why am I even saying this? I'm excited to check out the single player. That's still what I'm most looking forward to, but the multiplayer is definitely a really great bonus, and it's certainly reminiscent of other games that I love, like Mario Kart and Mario Party at times, but it definitely feels unique on its own, which I really appreciate, and I can just totally imagine sitting on the couch with my friends, just having a ball.
Monkey Ball.
Yep. It's gonna be pretty great. I mean, any local, couch co-op or multiplayer experience I can get, I just love. I mean, with this and then WarioWare right before it, it's pretty great.
And even Crimson Blast, which I just reviewed yesterday at this point, having 4-player split screen too. So it's coming back, baby. It's coming in time for the GameCube's 20th anniversary.
Exactly.
Appreciate it.
Perfect.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we're about done here covering everything that we have to discuss about Super Monkey Ball Banana Mania. But of course, stay tuned for our upcoming review in, a couple weeks, Tris, I think? Or
Yeah. Yep.
And then, for a full verdict and more gameplay of the game and everything else. So with that, thanks for watching. And of course, stay tuned to GameXplain for, again, more on this and everything else Nintendo Switch. We'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.